recognize the ranking member, Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I could go at least 20 minutes with questions in a first round, but I'm going to try to see if we can get short answers to things that make sense. First of all, are you a supporter of the Jones Act?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you a supporter of the mega and freight and at-grade crossing programs that we established under the recent Surface Transportation Bill?
Yes, and I think this fits in with kind of the vision that President Trump has of those big projects that are so meaningful to communities that I think you mentioned in your office that oftentimes don't get done because they're really expensive. So yes, that's important.
Yes, and we worked with Senator Wicker so that states that may not have an economy, but yet there's still a mega project within that region also get funded because it doesn't matter the size of the population. You can still have a mega project because it has mega economic consequences and dwarfs the budget. Yes. What about culverts, supporting continued support for culverts?
We talking about the ones so we can have this salmon run and spawn?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Listen, I love salmon, and I love salmon spawning. And we've talked a lot about that. So, and again, we want to make sure that we are cognizant of the construction projects and what impacts they have on the environment, especially yes. So yes, I would answer yes.
Okay, so aviation safety, you will meet with the families of the MAX crash victims.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You believe that the FAA should have a robust oversight of aviation manufacturing, including listening to whistleblowers on the ground?
I 100% do.
I think that that's, part of my concern is that what our committee has been able to, understand and confirm, through our efforts and starting with, Senator Wicker's efforts prior to ANCSA, that according to a most recent article in the Seattle Times, 90% of complaints submitted by airline and manufacturing employees through the FAA's whistleblower program resulted in no violations. This underscores the concerns about how do we get a strong FAA oversight and listening to the people that are on the ground, the machinists and engineers. Do you think that that there should be a mandatory safety management system at our manufacturers?
One more time.
You can take this for the record. Safety management systems are a redundant circle of continued safety improvements that the expert panel has suggested that we do. The expert aviation panel has suggested that's really what is missing. And I think in the prior administrations, people didn't really push for a strong safety management culture. And I think that's what we're still pushing to make sure that that is exactly, the FAA is saying that's what Boeing should do, but we have to continue to push on this
obviously,
issue.
there's been a missing link. Obviously, there's a lot more work to do. And so if this is part of the missing link to make sure we get a better safety record at Boeing, I'm on board.
Great. And the issue about, projects that, I mentioned the I-5 bridge when we spoke, the infrastructure investment that's already been planned, that the money has been out the door and has been, it's on its way to doing the work. Will you commit to helping complete these projects and continue the funding?
That are underway, yes. And again, one of the complaints I've heard from the committee is oftentimes the money is not moving fast enough. There's been questions about why it's taking so long. So I'd love to work with you and make sure that the money gets out the door to the projects that are underway.
Great. And we have a very strong economy in the Northwest, but I expect, just like my colleagues, we have a lot of people who have to travel a long way to get to work. Why? Well, we haven't built enough housing, but public transit becomes a very key cornerstone of the investments. And so for us, that's the sound transit system. All in all, according to AAA, car ownership costs an average of $1,000. Ownership costs on average over $1,000 a month. Meanwhile, a sound transit pass costs $100 a month. Mm-hmm. So making sure that we're going to keep our investment in public transportation. What are you committed to working with this committee on public transit investment?
I am.
Yes, thank you. And then I too want to give my condolences as it relates to the fires in California. My state knows these issues well and how devastating they can be. And to your son and his family, I hope the best for them.
Thank you.
In the very near future, the World Cup and the Olympics will be coming to places like Seattle and Kansas and LA. Will you work with this committee on making sure that we have infrastructure investment to be the host for those kinds of facilities, those
Senator,
events?
I commit to working with you, yes, and the committee.
Great. And I think that's all I'm going to do this round, and we'll go back onto some of these other issues. But thank you for your brevity and commitment on those issues.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Fisher.